I started way back in 1980 as a varsity dropout, and I was doing architecture and decided that architecture wasn't for me. I was given an opportunity to start working at the Pro Shop, which in those days was still in Commissioner Street, opposite the Rand Club. And so I started working then. It was an unbelievable opportunity and an unbelievable experience. I started on the floor and have never looked back. I've enjoyed every single minute of it. It's been an absolute blast, and hopefully I'll continue doing it for another 40 years. I was fortunate enough to start when the business was still quite small, and because it was small, there were more opportunities. Everybody did everything in those days. It was very different to the way we have it today, where people have specific functions and they're employed to do specific jobs. In those days, everybody did everything. Everybody was a jack of all trades. I guess there were certain masters, but by and large, everybody did everything. There was no such thing as not sweeping the floor. There was no such thing as a job being too big or too small for somebody. If a container came in, we unloaded it. Even if it was on the street, the warehouse was in the store, so you did picking and packing and pulling and all those kinds of good things. And we did advertising and we did merchandising and the marketing and everything. So as I say, it was an opportunity to grow and find your niche. And I did that, so it was absolutely fantastic. In 1987, we sold the business to a company called Interleisure. And within Interleisure, they created a whole leisure group that was ultimately owned by Sun International and Federale. And through that process, they vertically integrated the business with a whole lot of other businesses, primarily wholesale and a couple of other retail businesses. And part of the retail businesses that they bought into were specialist tennis and running stores. And there was a business called Rackets, which was a single standalone store in Sandton that specialized in squash and tennis. And then there was a business called The Sweatshop, which in fact still exists today. And they were specialist running shoes. And we put the two businesses together, and I was given the responsibility of managing those and expanding it throughout the country. So for a brief time, for about 3 or 4 years, I ran those divisions or those businesses within it. And then the guys decided to break up the group, and the vendors essentially got into buying it back. And I went back into the Pro Shop and carried on there. So pretty much for all of the time, for a very brief period, I also was dedicated only to the world of golf. But other than that, it's always been the Pro Shop and the other businesses that have become part and parcel of the group. So MoreCorp, I guess, just became the holding company by default. The Pro Shop in 1995 or 96 decided, we looked at it and we said, you know, we've got substantial market share. We need to grow and expand the business other than in retail. And we looked at ways of getting more golfers into the game. And essentially at that point in time, South Africa was going through a very difficult period. Many people had, I guess, lost faith in the country and were busy emigrating. Many people had just gained a lot of enthusiasm and opportunity for the country. And, you know, they were looking to do the things that they'd missed out on for many, many years and weren't being given the opportunity. And so we created the World of Golf, which was designed as an environment to be fun-friendly and unintimidating, to get people into the game in a way that they felt comfortable, in a way that was supportive, in a way that was, as I say, friendly. And so we started driving the World of Golf as the next business. Through the World of Golf, which was all about getting new people into the game, getting them to practice and improve and play better, we then found there was a market and a need to get people onto the golf course. And in getting them onto the golf course, we then created Play More Golf. And from Play More Golf, then we started creating golf days. We started finding different ways of booking times. And from that evolved Last Minute Golf and Ideal Golf and all the other businesses centered around booking. And so essentially we had a retail business, we had a practice business, we had a play business, and that was the foundation of More Golf. And then when we got into cycling, we decided we couldn't call it obviously More Golf, so we created a company called More Corp, and More Corp then housed More Golf and More Cycle. And so that's really the foundation of the business today. The company values are very interesting, and in essence, I didn't choose the values. The values were something that was embraced and adopted by everybody who worked in the business. Values are guiding principles, and values are things that we do to keep ourselves in check whenever we got to question whether we are making the right decision or not. And so the values really became a set of standards and a set of rules that we live by, and that essentially was chosen, as I say, by everyone in the business. So the values are really, really important to us. The values are the guiding light whenever we are making decisions, whenever we come across tough decisions, whenever we are looking at a way forward, we're saying, does that fit into our value system? Are we doing things the way we believe is right? It's our moral compass. I think that's really the best way of describing it. And so the values are absolutely critical to us and the way we manage ourselves going forward. The company's vision is about making a difference in the lives of everybody. So everybody being our staff, our customers, our suppliers, and anybody and everybody that we come into contact with. From a financial perspective, I guess that's very easy. Everybody's on the same page, everyone's aligned, and very simply, the plan is to achieve 200 million in EBITDA by the year 2020. Everything that we do leads up to that. It's quite a big, hairy, audacious goal, but it's something that we like to do and something that we encourage. We're always challenging ourselves and those people that we work with to do one of our values, I guess, which is more today than we did yesterday and more tomorrow than we do today. And so that's all part and parcel of growing and developing and chasing what we believe to be in the best interests of the business, ultimately resulting in 200 by 2020. And so in the essence of it, I guess that's the ultimate vision. How we get there, we get there by living our values, we get there by being true to ourselves, we get there by surrounding ourselves with people who know more than us about the business and people who add value all the time. And I guess people are our biggest strength, people are our biggest asset. And so everybody who works in the business essentially has an opportunity to make a difference. Everyone has an opportunity to be part of that vision and to share in the values. And I can't think, in the 35 odd years that I've been in the business, I can't think of one single occasion where we've gone to someone and said, listen, my butt, you're doing too much, slow down, you're making too big a difference. It's always a case of, there's something more that you can do. Nobody's going to tell you you're doing too much. No one's going to tell you that's out of bounds. You can't get involved in it. And so wherever anybody thinks they can make a difference, we encourage them and urge them to do that. The Old Mutual deal is an unbelievable opportunity and a fantastic asset to us. As a business, we've always been relatively formal and relatively disciplined in the way we do things. But Old Mutual just bring a totally different level of corporate governance to the business. And they bring a new discipline, and they bring with it many experiences and much value around businesses and how to grow businesses and how to add value to businesses and how to create value. I think that's a big thing. For many, many years, the business has been centered around building a good business, serving customers in the best way that we know how. That doesn't always drive and generate business value. So it builds a very loyal business, it builds a business with a strong customer base and all of that, but that doesn't always drive value. And so the Old Mutual relationship is going to help us undoubtedly build value for our shareholders, and that's very important. More Corp's international growth is absolutely definite and absolutely a must. There's no doubt about it that a business today, in order to become most relevant in South Africa, requires a diversified approach. And in a diversified approach, it means expanding outside of golf, as we are now doing into cycling and as we are doing into some of the tech businesses. But it also requires an opportunity to get involved in dollar-based income. And dollar-based income essentially comes from outside of the borders of the country. And so we're looking at businesses in other parts of Africa, we're looking at businesses in Australia, we're looking at businesses in the US, and ultimately, I guess, also in Europe. It's really, really important to take away some of the risk of a pure play business in South Africa by doing that. So I absolutely foresee a strong international component in the future. And I guess if we have to put it into numeric terms, it would be real fantastic if we could have 20% of our revenue coming from international sources within the next 5 to 8 years. To say that MallCorp is the preferred employer, I guess, would be very presumptuous. We'd like to make it the preferred employer, and as the preferred employer, we think it's very, very important to create an environment, again, similar to the one that we're creating for our customers, that's fun-friendly and unintimidating, but also very stimulating. We want to make sure that everybody who works within the business has a very clear and specific strategic path, and everybody knows where they are capable of growing and where they're going to make a difference and how they add value. So I think those things become absolutely important. The fact that working in the sports industry is fun, that you meet nice people, that you deal with people who are celebrities and all of those kinds of things, that's just an added bonus. And I think being able to get golf membership and bicycles and riding and practice and all the kinds of things that we do for the guys that get Play More Golfers benefits, membership to the bike park. There are many, many benefits. Being able to buy equipment at cost plus 10 and all that kind of thing, that all just adds to it. But I think that's the icing on the cake. The big thing is the people that we work with surround themselves with good people, that surround themselves with ambitious people, who surround themselves with people who are trying to make a difference, and thereby it creates a working unit. And when that happens, it's really important that people are doing it for something they believe in. And so we want to create an environment that achieves just that. We've never ever said to somebody, don't do something because you're making too big a difference. And so we encourage people all the time to look at what they do, to look at what other people are doing around them, and to look at ways of improving the way it's done. We hate the thing of it's done because it's always been done that way. If there's a better way of doing it, we want to do it, and we want to find it, and we want people to come to us with it. For me to sit in my office and understand how things work on the ground every single step of the day is almost impossible. And so everybody has that ability, whether it's from how to make the tea more efficiently, or how to sweep the floors more efficiently, or how to cut the greens more efficiently, or how to make a sale more efficiently, whatever it happens to be. Everybody has the ability to say to us, listen, you're doing it in an inefficient manner, and there is a better way of doing it, and this is the way we think it is. And that ultimately is what makes you stand out from the crowd. Do today better than you did yesterday, and do tomorrow better than you do today. If we can achieve that and live that, we're going to have a fantastic business. When you're in a business and it's all about work, 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 you can do it for so long and eventually it becomes a chore. We don't want it to be a chore. We want people to look forward to coming to work. We want people to be thank God it's Monday people as opposed to thank God it's Friday people. And I think that's absolutely critical. So it is a bit cliche-ish to say, you know, we want people to have fun and it must be a lekker place and all that kind of thing. And you hear about businesses like Google and Apple that create these unbelievable environments. But we really do try and create that. And more importantly, as I say, we want to have a environment where people enjoy doing what they're doing, because that way they're going to be good at it. The biggest milestones have to be the next steps that the business went through. And so if you look at when the business opened in 1976 and the USPs that it put together as the first in-city discount operation, to the starting up of the world of golf and changing the way golf was practiced and creating platforms that were fun-friendly and unintimidating for people to start playing, to moving into the cycle industry, to change the way that people look at buying bicycles and the way in which they want to buy bicycles. And I think all those various things are milestones. But I think, being able to row the river with good people is probably the biggest milestone. People can never be underestimated, and we're only as good as our people are. And so I think being able to work with people that ultimately you end up calling friends, being able to celebrate victories together and to share in sadness and all of that really is what makes a family. And so I think that ultimately is the milestone that, I'm proudest of. I don't see it as a job. I love coming to work every day, and whilst we're making a difference as a team, whilst we are changing lives, whilst we're impacting on people, one of the values that we have in the golf business is making friends and helping them play better golf more often. We're trying to do the same thing in cycling, but it's that challenge and that opportunity and the rewards that you get when you achieve that really make it all worthwhile. And one of the things in being in business is you've got to make tough decisions and you've got to make the hard calls. But that's all part of building what we build. And as long as we stick to our values and as long as we're doing things for the right reasons, you never really run into a problem as to why you're doing it. And if you don't have a problem as to why you're doing it, ultimately you enjoy doing what you're doing. So I love it.